Midnight Ramen is a minimally edited, live recorded podcast that takes place at midnight. Although Michael may not be consuming food, it's time to get your bowls out. It's chow time.
Welcome back to you. Break stride, sailing me. Free falling, choose my enemy. Free from the things you say. It will all come back someday.
Good evening. Once again, it is midnight, so you know what that means. You're listening to the Midnight Ramen Livecast with me, Michael. Once again, it is, I think it's like episode 5 at this point. Which is not a lot, but hey, it's something. But I just thought about this when I made this episode, I thought of making this episode, or, as I plan this episode out. It happens on Thursday nights. If I do Thursday nights consistently like this, that means every year we will have a Thanksgiving podcast. If I did this yearly and whatever, I will have a Thanksgiving podcast, knock on wood, every single time, because it always happens on Thursday. Oops. So you know what that means? It's Thanksgiving. This is the Thanksgiving of hunger. Parroting off the Treehouse of Horror from The Simpsons, because originality, get out of here. Originality, I'm leaving. Originality, I'm walking out the door right now. Ooga booga! I didn't leave. But yeah, it is Thanksgiving. And I'm doing the podcast. I'm doing the show. I'm probably going to just drop this immediately after I record this because it's fun. It feels like, hey, it's something to listen to on Thanksgiving. I'm thinking on another level here. For once, I'm thinking. The other day, I was making a magic deck that actually made sense. I think I might have more than one brain cell. I'm thinking that might be a thing. I don't know. I might be crazy, but I know I'm crazy. I'm literally talking to the camera. So yeah, I am crazy. I might just be a little bit. And talking to the void. And as they say, you look into the void looks, that's not right. What's that? I know it's in like Batman all the time. It's like you stare into the darkness stares back. That's what it is. But the main difference between me and you is that I didn't blink. And then he shoots Owlman. Spoilers. I think, I don't know. I didn't watch it. But I hope y'all are doing well. If you're listening to this or watching this on Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. If it's not, happy whatever day it is. But it's a special treat if it is on Thanksgiving. Oh. Yeah, I mean, a whole lot's been going on since last episode. I was busy as hell, and I was right that I think I got the last episode out on the Sunday or on YouTube. I uploaded it, or had time to actually do it up on Sunday because I was so busy. I was working basically doubles the rest, like from Friday, from Thursday to Sunday. Well, not Sunday technically. From Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I was working doubles. So I was working one job, and then right, 30 minutes or whatever, I had to go to the next, like, drive back home and do deliveries. So like I had no time. And I hurt my hand because I got so pissed. Not at, I don't mean it towards anyone, but it's just like I'm just like, I feel like I was overworked. Like I hurt my hand, and when I did, I think I like tore a muscle because I it like swelled up. My knuckle like swelled up like pretty big, and it itches now that mention it. But like it swelled up really big. I'm like, oh, I instantly regret this. My grip suffered because of it. I mean, it's totally fine now. I mean, does it hurt if I like did this? Yes. Just a tiny, like, on a scale from 1 to 10, it's like a 1. It really doesn't hurt. It's just like it feels sore. Um, but like grabbing like grabbing things, like doing this, like just like hand stretches, like jazz hands, uh totally fine. Totally fine. I feel like I also need to cut my hair. I don't want to do that yet. I really don't want to do that yet. But I have to do it sometime. And that'll be a visual treat. I also need to trim my facial hair too, which actually I think probably by the next podcast will happen, because No Shave November, whatever. But yeah, haven't really gotten to it. Haven't really given a shit. Ooh, actually no. December 1st is when the episode is airing. I don't want to do it live. I'm not doing it live. I'm not going to shave myself live unless, nah. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. That just sounds stupid. But I hope you all are having a good one. I hope you're eating a lot of good food. If it's Thanksgiving, I hope you're having some good food. I'm traveling up with family to visit family. That's all I can really say or know, because I don't know who's gonna all be there. I know who's gonna be there, but I also kind of don't. But Thanksgiving is a nice time. Last year, when I was living in an apartment by myself in kind of by my university, my parents came up, and they came up for that weekend, or like those couple of days, because they just wanted to see me, and Thanksgiving, because I would kind of be spending the next couple of holidays alone, like Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day. Yeah, Valentine's Day. Yeah. Well, that doesn't really count though. St. Pat? I mean, I think I went down. No, I did. Did I go down for Easter? I don't remember if they did. I think I stayed up here for Easter. I think they might have visited. I can't remember. I don't remember. And that was not that long ago in comparison to, Thanksgiving last year. But they came up, and we did Black Friday shopping and stuff like that. It was nice. We had Thanksgiving like lunch at a hotel, and they had good food. And basically, I stole like a Pepsi or something from like their catering stuff, because yeah, I mean, you paid for it, so yeah, I mean, you paid for the plate, you paid for the food. And it was good food. I mean, we had to like wait for like a long time, because they were doing it more or less buffet style, which like is a good idea of what you're doing for like Thanksgiving. It's like, oh, you want this, 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 and this. But there was like a long line, and we weren't even like we got there pretty at a decent time too. We were waiting for like an hour. We got there like say I don't know, like 11. I can't remember when we had. It might have been later because I remember sprinting off to work almost immediately after I got done eating. Because I think I had to do like graphics when I was working at the TV station. I think I had to do graphics that day. And for graphics, you have to be there like an hour early because if that shit fucks, if because like for graphics at the TV station, you had to do like bug ticker and other stuff. But like most of the time, that's like the last position that you were trained in, unless if like that and sound. But for a lot of people, especially around the time that like I was there, like graphics was the last thing that you were learning because the learning curve of graphics is just a lot steeper than pretty much everything else except directing because directing is a whole different ballpark because you got to know which buttons to press, how to do different camera stuff. It's so weird. And like making sure all the content's in for the shows and all that. That's a different ballpark, but in terms of like production assistant, like yeah, it's the the steepest learning curve of the job that we've had that we had to do because you had prompting, tapes, which is just like looking over clips and making sure that everything's working fine, streaming is working right, that sort of stuff. Audio and graphics. Those are like the main four. And really, with you can get by without a prompter person because like on weekends and there was like a certain point where we just didn't have the people to be doing prompting. We just didn't have a prompter person. Although we did have people like pretty much everyone when we took that part away temporarily was trained up on how to use the prompter and scripts and shows for loading the scripts for the shows, and then in like the room. So yeah, that was like kind of the big thing. And I'm getting really into my old job or the ones that I actually work now. I don't want to get like too deep into it, but like I miss the crew. I do miss the crew. A lot of them have definitely I know have moved on. I know there's some that are still working there, but a lot has changed. I will say that. I won't go into like names or anything. There's definitely a couple people that I'm like, man, I miss them. I a lot of the crew I do miss, and I want to see them again, or talk to them in the future. But it's just it sucks. It was sad. Like I needed to move on, and plus my lease was ending, and I needed to get the hell out of there. I really did. I really did because I was more or less barely making it. I was like with the pay that I was getting there, and like I was working at the TV station and at church, and like church was only like not really. It was like a second. I mean, it was kind of a job, but it wasn't fully a job. Like I was, but with those two things together, I was like more or less barely scraping by. Like if I had to like, it's a really good thing that the student loan payments during that time was like held back because if I had to start paying that, I would have been broke pretty damn fast. Because although like I don't really have or I don't really have that much, even with the payment like a $200 payment, monthly payment or something like that. Yeah, I would have been broke within a year. Within the year. And yeah, no. No, 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 no. So it's a good thing I kind of got out of there. But I've been hearing it's getting better, but still needs work. But I'm the pay wasn't really, the pay was just one bad factor, but pretty much everything else. I love the people. I love the work, although sometimes it could be stressful. Very stressful when shit just broke down. Like 90% of the time, whenever there was a flub up, whenever there was like big flub ups and like a broadcast, it was technical. It was always technical because like it would, I mean, yeah, if the the lower third said the wrong name, yeah, that could be on that could be a person doing it, but it can also be, oh crap, this thing advanced too far and we didn't catch it. Or I mean, that is a human error, but there's also times where it just like didn't save it, or the program did something funky. There are a lot of times where that has been an issue. And like the programs that we like were the computers that we're running on, some of them were just like, I don't know how they were going. Some of them are just like, if you coughed wrong on them, the whole thing's dead. Especially the Clips computer. There was like times where like we were a minute to like cutting it very close, a minute to the show, and we barely got like, because the director wants to know, there's channels, so you want to know what channel the clips are on so that they play at the correct time. So you have like your intro card, the stingers, your videos, stuff like that, your clip. You want to have that all like sorted out, and what's going from A to B to A to B, stuff like that. But there were times where we barely got it in, and made sure that it actually worked, because we were like, there were sometimes when I was on audio just like watching it, and I would be like, I was just scared out of my mind, not because like my job was so panicky, but like other people's jobs were like were scary. And like tapes is like, you can go on to autopilot. You can literally fall asleep when you were doing tapes, because basically all you had to do was like make sure the clips were in the right area or in the right channel, make sure that you didn't have back to back, like you didn't have A. You want to make sure like A B or something like that. Make sure the streaming's going, which, it always, unless if you did something wrong, it always is. It's working. What else? Like you didn't really had to do much. I mean, you had to record clips. You had to record like ad break stuff or cut-ins, which are basically, they're local ads, or like, oh, coming up at 10, blah 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 blah, here's that story. Basically you had to do those like after we got done with like a certain newscast. Like we had to do some of those, but there wasn't a whole lot of that typically for the shows. I mean, there are times where we had to do like, oh, in between shows someone wanted to record something, or if like there was a weather thing we needed to do, but typically there wasn't a whole lot that you needed to do with clips. So like during a show you could easily fall asleep, and then in between the breaks you just had to basically say, oh, here, this clip's on channel A, this clip's on channel B, this clip's on channel A, and make sure that they stayed ready to go and didn't like stop, because that could happen. And make sure that, and in between, a lot of the stuff for that was like in between shows, making sure that the clips are working. And yeah, but like I loved working there, but I need to get out, and I need to get off that topic, because yeah, I miss some of the guys. I know one of them, and I will say I will recommend the channel because I love his stuff, and I know he'll love the free press. Hold on, let me actually pull it up on the browser, because I don't. Oh, do we even have the browser up? Let me put. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted opera. What the heck? Where's my opera novel coming up? Give me a second. I don't know why it's not coming up. Is it coming up now? No. I don't know why it's not showing. It's making me very mad. And I hate it. Oh, this is so annoying. This is so annoying. But you know what? I don't think I'll get to it. Oh wait, now it wants to do it. Now it wants to do it. Now it wants to do it. And no, it doesn't want to actually do it. Because oh wait, it doesn't, it's not even showing. That's why. But let me look it up on YouTube. Let me look on YouTube. I already have him on my subscriptions because you know it. You already know that I have him. But his channel's Pandemonium. He plays every Sega game. Actually, no, it wouldn't be on my subscriptions. I'd have to go back. Good thing I have that muted. Show all 230. Oh my lord. I have way too many subscriptions. I need to kill some of them. Because I know some of them don't really make any content anymore. Or are literally dead channels. Okay. I won't pay any audio, but Pandemonium reviews every US Saturn game. Well, his online persona is Panda, or I'd say Panda. Actually, I never really knew what his like online persona, but it's Pandemonium. I love his content, but you can definitely tell like he's a news reporter. You can definitely tell that he went into this like a 4-hour documentary on Virtua Cop. 4 hours. A literal video to beat Endgame, to surpass Endgame. It's crazy. But he also and he's doing them as close to chronological order as he can, because like some of it's hard to tell because it was 1996 when the Sega Saturn came out. But I watched pretty much every single episode because it's unironically good content. It is very good content. I don't know which one the most iconic. I think the most iconic one is Pebble Beach episode 5, because he references it a lot. Because he does like a beat in it. You were posted in the wrong golf links. Oh, and then he has like a more updated version that he posted like as of the recording of this episode like 3 months ago. That's like really good. I think it was in the Virtua Cop documentary, or like a little Easter egg in there, but he posted it separate because it is unironically good. I don't want to play it because like I don't want to get copyright stuff, but it is, this song, this little remix is unironically funny, and it's also super good. It's super good. I am not joking. Listen to it. It's so funny. And watch his stuff. It is very informative, but it's also it's entertaining. You can learn the history of the Sega Saturn, which is rocky as hell because Sega of America was like very cryptic, I would say. Cryptic is the best way to say it. Because when they announced it, they're like, yeah, it's out there right now. And all of the the stores were like, we don't have this. What are you talking about? And so there was like a whole like scrambling to get inventory and games for it that like it wasn't ready. It wasn't ready. It was like supposed to come out like in September. I don't know if it was like in September, but when they announced it, it was like March. I can't remember. It was something like that. something to that effect. I don't remember. I have to watch it again, but it was like, uh. And by the time that like, I think he's like been like a year, a full year. You're basically, I think at this point, it's just about barely been a year at game 32, and yeah, there's only 32 games at a year for a fully fledged console, which is something to say because when you consider uh like with Xbox Series X and PlayStation, there I don't think there really are that many exclusive games. Be- I mean, for obvious reasons, one, the pandemic, and two, it's like, especially with like Xbox and PlayStation, they have like Game Pass and stuff like that where it's a lot more accessible for people to get it. So that like, especially with how manufacturing and like the shipping and inventory stuff was bad, was like, it was really bad for that because during the pandemic they just couldn't get their crap out. They just couldn't. And I still remember like hearing about like people just hoarding them like assholes and then selling them on the secondary market for like, say like a PlayStation was like they bought it for like say $500, like selling it for 1,200. It's like, dude, really? You're gonna be that guy? But there are also people that bought into that, and there are a lot of people that didn't, and so the ones that like bought a shit ton of them are stuck with it. So well done, you fooled yourself. Drink to that. But no, I feel like that kind of similar to this Sega Saturn. I think that's another thing that's similar to that, and how it kind of repeated stuff that's like, oh, but like they knew about it. People knew about Xbox and PlayStation were getting ready to put out their latest console, but it was kind of out of their own hands that they couldn't get it out. Um, but other than that, people couldn't get it, and I don't really think that there's a lot of exclusive games. I mean, you have some like obviously Sony is a lot more exclusive. Xbox, I mean, with Game Pass and stuff like that, like they're very like, hey, why don't we just release it on PC? Or like, hey, yeah, we may own all this IP. Why are we limiting our profits to only our hardware? Why do that? So I think that's another thing too, is that I think Microsoft is maximizing their profits so that way they can maximizing their IP by, hey, it's on Xbox, it's on PlayStation, it's on PC, it's on Nintendo, it's on the Switch. It's on everything. It's on iOS, it's on Android with Game Pass. Uh I would say Steam Deck if you mod it because it's basically a Linux computer as a Switch, more or less. Which I feel like I would get one of those, but I really don't have any use for it. I mean, with my computer as it is, like I would rather just upgrade it. I have a Switch. I mean, I don't find myself on the go that much that I don't really care if I don't have access. I don't care if I don't have access to like my Steam games. I mean, there are a lot of cloud save stuff, and that's real. I like how Steam does that, but you know, I don't want to like get in that deep into it. But that could be for another time, if anything else. But let's get back on track a little bit as I just keep ranting on like gaming. And I don't want to keep myself on too long because I also want to make sure that this gets out today, and I want to get to bed eventually. That's also another thing I shouldn't have really said, but hey, it is what it is. I feel like right now I want to open up some magic packs, and uh I have 4 left from stream stuff. Originally had 10, but we're down to 4. I don't know when I started doing it, just like randomly opening packs, but I feel like I want to open all of these tonight. I want to open all these, give this episode a little bit of a, hey, it's an extravaganza. So I'm gonna like shuffle these up without looking to make sure that, they're kind of random. One of them I know I won't. I'll just be like, I can't read this because it's literally in Japanese. But hopefully I pull something good from it because that would be epic. I will say that. So the first pack that I will be opening, and I'm shuffling. I'm gonna be just, you know what? I can look. There, it's down here, so it's down below me, so I can't see them. As long as I focus on the camera. But okay, first pack I'm going to be opening is this one. It's the Zendikar Rising set booster, which is I think the second time that they did this. Okay, yeah, actually let me show the order. So Zendikar Rising set booster, and after that is a Strixhaven. I think it's a set booster, but it's a Japanese pack, so I don't really know. And after that will be the Kamigawa not Neon Dynasty set booster. And on the end, it'll be a Dominaria United set booster. If I had time, I would have bought a Brothers War one because like that's the latest one. I don't really want to right now, but I have seen a lot of good stuff about it. But let me pull up the camera for that. And I'm constantly trying to make sure with my like pack opening cam, I'm trying to get like a better setup with this because I feel like having it on the table for at least the pack openings is good, but if I like do like a deck tech, I want to have it, so we can see everything that I'm doing. And that's the big thing, the big problem that I'm trying to have. I mean, I feel like eventually I want to get like an overhead cam for that to do that, but like then I have to deal with all the cable, like all the poles and wiring and stuff like that. I don't really want to mess with that. I do have a separate desk to do this, so like I could idealistically do that, but or like get like a pole arm to do it, but it's kind of being lazy, but like also at the same time, but one thing I feel like I should do is probably get a pole arm for my microphone, maybe get a new mic. I don't know. I like this microphone. It's a Rode. I like Rode mics. Rode mics are good. But let's get back into. I'm an audio guy. I like microphones. But let's get back into this pack opening. It's a Zendikar Rising set booster pack. Zendikar Rising, I feel like was a good set in Magic because it had a lot of good spicy cards into it and added a lot of things into not only command. I feel like Commander it did some good stuff, but I feel like in Standard it, as much as like people like to say it didn't really do much, I feel like a lot of the common cards and like there's a lot of spicy stuff that it added into the Standard stuff, especially like with recent sets too. Not as spicy as it, but still. So Scale of the Heights, Mind Drain, Drain this Mine, Glacial Clasp, Hold on, let me see if the focus is actually wanting to focus. Hocus Pocus. Here's pizza on your focus. I'll have to do. Like, again, I'm still trying to work on this whatever. Skycave Plunder, Concerned Defense, Skyclave Squid, Tormenting Voice, and I already saw the rare. Jorka Visionary, Master of Winds. The foil is Terseem Royal Mage. So no hit there. You can't win them all. Can't win them all. But I'm still gonna opening the rest of these packs. I feel like this pack for the Strixhaven one, and it's all in Japanese, so I can't really read into it. I feel like and I'll go in deeper, because I think in last episode, I already talked about, like, how basically a business advisor from Bank of America just said, hey, Hasbro, you're really fucking over Magic the Gathering. And, like, pardon my language, but it's true. They've been basically printing a lot of material that people aren't buying it, and I'm gonna buy it eventually, and that's true. Oh, so it is like a set booster. That's pretty cool. The art, I think this is upside down. It is upside down. Is it upside down? Yeah. Okay. So this is the right way. So yeah, I'm gonna go through these because, like, I don't really know what the hell I'm. So it is a set booster. Oh, I could see something spicy coming up. This is I don't know what rarity that is. I think this is a fireball. And then the rare is that I don't know what it is. It's a foil rare, so hey, it's a foil rare. I like it, but I think that's a foil. That's got to be fireball. This one's got to be fireball because I think that's black. It's hard to tell because it's also purple in the room. It's a little hard to see the color without having to, like, blast, like, a light onto here. And same with the focus, because, like, I tried focusing this up earlier. It was working, but it's also kind of hard to see because it's purple in here in the room. The second to last one is Kamigawa. Kamigawa, good set. Although I feel like it could have been more than just one thing, and people are like, why couldn't it didn't exceed expectations? And I feel like a lot of people had very high hopes for it, and I think because of that, it didn't perform as well. But there was a lot of good stuff that came out of it. And, the pack opening of this one is just amazing. See, the thing I like about pack opening sometimes is that sometimes you can basically, like, more or less just, like, once you're done with the pack, you can basically put it back into the pack, and it's like it's got a cool little blanket on, and it stays in there. But other times it's just like, this is a spaghetti monster mess. Kill it. So we got a samurai token. Ooh, and this is a nice art. I didn't even flip the token. You know what? Actually, let me not do it on here. I'll just do it I'll do it on the main cam, because I feel like it might just be easier to do it this way. Actually, no, it doesn't feel like it. Forest. Yeah, no. You know what? That doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. So forest. This little guy. That dude. Tempered arrest. Let me move this a little bit. Okay. Repel the vial. Like, it's all, like, this is why I'm, like, trying to, like, find a better setup for this. I think maybe doing a sky cam might be a good idea. But getting the focus is just a pain in the ass. And I know how to do it, but, like, again, lighting and all that other stuff, it's not fun. And, like, with the autofocus period with this is just not fun. It is actually ass with cameras such as this. What was my rare? Oh, so just whiffing. I'm absolutely whiffing on these packs, but I feel like I can definitely totally make this last one be a good one, because I have this. I don't want to say I'm very lucky with my last packs, but I tend to be. Last time it didn't work, but I feel feel this time with this pack, it doesn't look good, but it. I feel something interesting can come out of this. So I feel like this might be a good pack, but I'm not. I won't guarantee that. I will not guarantee that. Weighing packs is not a thing and hasn't been a thing for a long time. Like it was back in the day, but now you can't do that. Now you can't. It's. I mean, obviously packs are going to be way more or less, but you really can't tell if a pack is good or not solely based on uh the content or how much it weighs. Focus, hocus pocus. Hocus pocus. There's pizza on your focus. I don't have to do. But yeah. I like I don't know. I've been sure. Oh, that's not it. And ooh, okay, yes, I did get last pack luck. Yo, let's go, Karn. Yo, let's go. So I was right. Hey, yo. Okay, and then a foil card. But okay, I was right. I was right. I did get last back luck, and it was on stream. So Karn Living Legacy. Let me look that up. Let me look up this card. So it is a mythic. So that's why I was like kind of like. Eek. So for those who are unaware of what the rarity in Magic the Gathering or just in cards, for Magic the Gathering specifically, a mythic is like it's super rare. It's not as so in every pack you get common cards, you get uncommon cards, and you get one rare typically. And then there's like a foil which can be random. That can be a common, uncommon, or rare, or even mythic. So typically how it is, you have like, let's say, five common, like four uncommon, and then one rare, and then one foil slot, and that's it. That's typically how a pack kind of stacks up. Especially in set boosters, that's a lot more random because you can get multiple rares because they have the slots to they have it so like there's more opportunities to do that. But typically you're gonna get like one or two rares at the most in a set booster pack compared to like say a booster pack, a regular booster pack. And I like the way that they do it. It's Karn. Let me look it up. Karn Living Legacy. It's only going for $5, but it is worth the pack. Actually, no, about $3. Market price is $5, so it is a hit. It is a hit, and it's definitely worth the pack. So I will definitely call that that's a little victory right there. Little victory. I think the most expensive card in the set is $50, and I pulled it. I pulled it with another version of Karn that was worth it's worth $20. That is not my most expensive pull from a Magic the Gathering pack. I think the most expensive one that I've ever had was when I was starting to. I don't know if I told this last time. I feel like I said this last time, and I don't. Wait, no, I think I said it when I was doing. When I was building my latest commander deck. I think I told the story of my most expensive pulls, or my most expensive pack pull. But when I started getting into Magic the Gathering, it was right around the time, like 2015, 2016, around. I think my cousin was playing it, and he got me into it, and a couple of his like friends, and like some of my friends that I already knew were playing it. So I'm like, you know what? I'll start playing it. And I think because we always would meet up at the library and on Tuesdays, and one day, it was very early on when I got into it. I bought this basically a pre a pre-constructed deck, which had like included two booster packs but it was from a set that from Zendikar, Rise of Zendikar, or Battle for Zendikar. I think it was Battle for Zendikar. Uh, so kind of like uh the first one that I was opening, same realm and idea. Uh, so it's the same ideas or same themes and stuff like that were happening within the sets. Uh, but it was one of the pre-constructed decks from Battle of Zendikar, and it included two booster packs. And in one booster pack, I got this land. And you know what? Let's actually go to. I'll look it up. In one pack, I got a dual land that was worth. I think at the moment is probably worth like $100+ and a mythic planeswalker. And at the time, and still at the time, planeswalkers were only mythic, and that's the only rarity that they could bid in. Um, Let me just check it. Actually, it has dropped down. It has dropped down. Let me new graph. Okay, let me pull it up. So the card that I got at the time, because like it was super duper rare. Um, this version of this card, the Zendikar Expeditions, could only happen like once every like getting one of these lands. It's like a special card. It can randomly happen in any pack, but you out of like 1,000 packs, you probably would only get it like maybe twice or three times. Maybe. And it was that and one of the other planeswalkers that I think it's not she's not really worth that much. It was a Chandra for that one. But at the time, I think this card was worth like $100+ because the price has really gone down because there have been more reprintings of it since. And yeah, that's kind of it. Where I think it's yeah. I have I have the most recent version of this, and that one's only worth like $10, but it I'm keeping this version of it because it brings back the nostalgia of opening this one. And I sold it off and bought like a lot of magic cards with it, or traded it off for a lot of magic cards at the my local game store that I started playing at. And was it worth it? Maybe, maybe not. And so I was also a new player at the time, so like judging the value of cards wasn't my strong suit, but I think I did a good job. Uh, but I also had another time where I pulled this mythic card. I was doing like a draft thing with my cousin and a couple of other people, and I'm like, I pulled a mythic out of the thing, and I'm like, I don't need this in my deck. I'm like, I don't need this in my deck, and I passed the pack directly to him because he was the one to get the pack next, and he says, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was still new at the time. I was like, and he's like, "You sure about that?" I'm like, "I don't need it in my deck." And he's like, "You sure about that?" And I was like, I don't need it in my deck, and I should have kept it because that card is worth money and was probably worth all the packs. Like that card alone would have been worth the amount of money I was spent on the packs for that draft. Oops. But hey, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But I've definitely gotten a lot wiser, and I've tried teaching some people, like my girlfriend, to do it, but to play. But the learning curve is very steep. But once you know how to do it, once you know how to play, it's a lot easier. Uh, Unlike, say, other card games like Yu-Gi-Oh, or I can't really say for Pokemon, but once you know how to play it, it's a lot. It's easy. It can be very it's very confusing because, like, there's just a lot of cards out there and a lot of interactions that can happen. And like there's certain metas and certain things that certain cards can do and yada 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 blah blah blah. Some you can find a sleeper card that's like, oh, it's like worth 2 cents, but it's just as good as this card that's worth $20, but nobody uses it because it's very niche and very specific to a certain situation. But if that situation comes up, which say it happens quite a bit, and when you're facing a certain opponent playing certain cards, then it's really, really, really good. It's probably better than that $20 card. Speaking for the 2 cent one, there are definitely times where that's a thing. And, you know, if you can find them, do it. It's a very fun interactional game, and you're always learning something new or thinking about things differently. Whereas like Yu-Gi-Oh, you have to know what each card does. You have to know what your deck does. Your opponent needs to know what your deck does, because if they can't read the card, then you're screwed. Like, and I know a lot of some of my friends that were also in the group played Yu-Gi-Oh. There are some cards that, like, you could have a magnifying glass and still not be able to read it because of how much how much ruling and text there is to the card. It's like, this is convoluted. Like Magic, there are definitely cards where it's like, okay, this is enough text. Stop. But then Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like, it explains all the conditions that need to happen for this card to pop off and what it does. It's like, no. And that's the big thing I find about Magic. It's like there's keywords that tell you what certain cards do. Like trample, which means if a creature blocks another creature, or if you're attacking an opponent, normally that damage would go directly to the opponent. But if you have a creature in the way, the opponent doesn't take any damage. But if your creature has trample and it kills the opponent's creature, then whatever excess damage that would have been done to the creature is done to the opponent still. Is still done to the opponent. Like stuff like that's how, and that's how like they get around, is like, here are some basic rules, here's what, or like flying. It's basically a way of getting around cards that don't have it. Or first strike. It does the damage before the other creature can do damage to it. But if another creature has first strike, and if two creatures both have first strike, it's basically doesn't really matter. They just kill each other immediately. That's basically how Magic works. It's like a lot of keywords, and it's not overwhelming, I would say, but there's quite a few. There's quite a few keywords that you need to know how they work and how they interact with other stuff. And there's a lot of like subtle rules, but there's a lot of like YouTube videos that explain the game very well. I think Tolarian Community College is a good resource for that. I think they have like basic rules, and I think what channel? I think the Command Zone also did or does have like rules for beginners as well on how to actually play the game. Speaking of which, I know one of my uncles actually had. He gave me some of his magic cards. Um, like some of my old ones, like, and I showed them on stream before, like, uh, but one of them, like, one of the formats that I play a lot is Commander, and a very staple card within blue decks is Mystic. Is this card Mystic Remora, which is a $10 card, and I was just like scanning through like some of the cards that I owned, and I saw 3 copies of them. I'm like, huh? He gave me those cards, and I was willing to pay him when like he gave them to me, but he was like, nah, keep them. And I know he has more of them, but like they're probably gonna go to what would they technically be? So it'd be my cousin, but their kid. If that sounds right. It's his kid, but his grandson is what I should say. But like Mystic Remora, Pox, like this Oppression, that's a $20 card. That, and I didn't even know I had it until like I actually like looked around and sought those cards out. I'm like, I saw like a photo or something. I'm like, I seen that card before. Dig, 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 dig. I own that card. It's basically that's how I found them out of there. Is that, oh yeah, they're worth money. Uh, and not all cards that are like that old are worth a lot of money. There are a lot of stinkers out there. It's like Mystic Remora and that those cards are older than me, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I don't know how much they were back in when they were released in that, but I don't think they were worth that much. Or like even with the flash, I don't even think they were worth that much to begin with. But yeah. Yeah. Let's get off of that. Since it is Thanksgiving. Uh I mean, I'm going to talk about food. I think my most favorite Thanksgiving food is, I would maybe say stuffing. I like stuffing. If you do stuffing right though. Um I mean, there's like store-bought stuff. The stuff that I have at like Pizza Ranch, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. But if you get like fancy, like, oh, it's got this certain stuff or whatever, I put like, don't get fancy with it. Just make it good. If it sounds good and you know it's gonna taste good, it's probably gonna be good. Don't get fancy with it. Once you get fancy schmancy with it, it's not gonna be good. It's just gonna basically be a lumpy trail mix. Don't do that. Don't do that. Uh, I am not really I would say I prefer ham over turkey. When it comes to you know the food. I mean, I'll eat turkey. I'll eat it, whatever. But I'd say if I were to choose one or the other, I think ham because I could eat more of it. Uh, Turkey, I feel like with a lot of white meat, like chicken, turkey, stuff like that, it's very hit or miss. It's very hit or miss. And there's like a thin line where it's like either you're too dry or you're too wet. And you got to sit right in this line where like it's perfect. But that never happens. That never happens. I feel like. And yeah, it's like that's why I prefer ham. It's like with ham, it's like you just got to make sure that shit's warm. You just got to make sure that shit's hot. If it ain't hot, it's not. And plus if it loses like some heat, it's like, oh, it's like, I wouldn't say lukewarm, but it's like, it's like not really that hot. It's still good. and it can be sloppy. I think the thing with ham, it can be very sloppy. Uh, Even if it is like hot, you can feel like, oh, this is wet, but it's like it's consistent. You know what you're getting. You know exactly what you're getting into, as compared to like, chicken or turkey, where it's like, shit, this could be dry, and if it's dry, I gotta drink. But if it's like wet, it's like, so it's got to sit in that thin line, that thin line, for it to be good. And like another thing with like turkey stuff, it's like the concept of basting, where like you smother, like, say, butter, seasoning and stuff like that on top of a turkey or whatever food that you're cooking. Like, I took like a home ec class in high school, and they're like, yeah, that doesn't do shit. And I think my mom was even like, yeah, basting doesn't do anything unless if like you're doing it afterwards, and like in that case, because like with one of the crusts that we do at Pizza Ranch is like a stuffed crust, stuffed with cheese. And what you do to the crust is like you baste it with garlic butter, and then put some like Parmesan on the crust. So in that case, yes, basting is good. Like putting it on top of like a turkey or stuff like that, so it soaks in the flavor. It's like, I don't think that's not gonna work. It never has, unless if you have like a surface that is super absorbent. I don't think it's going to actually work, unless if you like submerge it and have it marinate. And at that point, it's not basting, it's marinating. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Corn's always corn. It's corn. It's corn. It's got the juice. I can't think of a more beautiful thing. I think that's a Shmo Yoho edit. Like, I was gonna say space is so cool, but no, that isn't a Shmo Yoho. Although I think they did that one. I don't know, the Markiplier, space is so cool. I think they did that one. But Shmo Yoho has some good content too. Like, I think Milk Thug is it's from like over 10 years ago at this point. But like, it's just a dumb video where a guy likes his milk. He loves milk. He's like Markiplier. He loves milk. But then he runs out of milk. So his tiny roommate, basically half the size of the soda can, goes out to buy milk. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm very small, but I'm determined to get my roommate this milk." And then he like gets ran over by a bike, but then somehow ends up at their doorstep again. I don't know how. Barely survived, like, should be dead because he got ran over by like bikes. He should be dead. But then his roommate drinks milk and he's like, "Hell yeah, I'm the milk thug." That's just the end of the video. And speaking of milk, I don't know if I'm like, I feel like I'm getting older. I don't think I have a gluten sensitivity, but like there's again, another fine line where it's like, I can only have so much milk. Cheese, I can go bonkers. Ice cream, go nuts. But milk, if I have, just like, oh, here's like a good example. I have like a full cup. If I'm not careful and I'm unlucky, I'm going to be on the can for about 10 minutes, like 5-10 minutes. And it doesn't have to be like all at once. Throughout a certain period of time, I'm going to be on the toilet for about 5 to 10 minutes. Just shitting. It depends on the day and depends on how bad it is. I don't really know why that is. But like I can drink milk and I think it's like I got to get used to like get used to it, cuz I think there was definitely a period of time where I wasn't drinking a lot of milk because I was at like college, and I had to skip breakfast because like eh. And honestly, breakfast isn't really that important, but it also is, but also isn't. Like if I was to get breakfast, like I really wasn't going for like the milk, the cereal, because like why bother when you have like French toast, you have like a lot of other food options at the mess hall. Like why go for straight up cereal bowl? It's like, bruh. And I think what really messed me up too was having a ghost pepper. Uh, that really messed me up. I think that's the thing that really got me with like, I don't really say it's the like lactose sensitivity or whatever, but I think that's the incident that like sparked it. Like sparked my problems with like milk sometimes, because it wasn't, because like when I was done eating the ghost pepper, it was like I was just like eating ice cream. I ate like a shit ton of ice cream and drank like a lot, like a good amount of milk, because like damn, that shit is spicy. I don't that shit was spicy. But like later in the day, my gut was just not feeling it. It was not feeling it. And I was just gassing it up. I was gassing it up. Like it was as bad as Auschwitz. It was as bad as a concentration camp. It was bad how much I was farting. Like I was on the bathroom feeling like I'm gonna make the most massive dump. Just like get up from the toilet. See nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's like there's a story with that, but that's for another time. That's for another time. There's a story that goes along with that too. But I don't want to get into it right now. I'll tell it at a later date. But other foods that I am a very I feel like at Thanksgiving it's definitely a pie situation. You gotta have pie. Pumpkin is a very good one. Uh, Boston cream is a good one too. I think my grandpa really prided himself, even though he just basically had a store bought one. He always got like store bought stuff for that, for the pies. He just really prided himself on that, I think. I don't understand why. I never really did. But like, if you like a pumpkin pie, you can have like you can have a lot, because it's like it's light, but it's also like you can have a significant chunk. But like a I want to say like a chocolate cream that's like really chocolatey and stuff like that, you can barely have one slice. And if you get done with that slice, you're like, kill me, please. Just please end it all. That's what I feel like every time like you see one of those pies. It's like there's like there's like I got 1/16 done of that pie. 1/16. I have this revolver. I'm not doing it. I'm not eating that pie. I think that's the second just like dark joke I made about food today, in the episode. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. Design. I don't. No, I don't want to get into music stuff. Nah, not now. Not now. But it's all now I'm thinking about my grandpa and like food and stuff, because it's getting to like the Christmas season. One thing that I still remember doing a couple of times with him before he passed away, before I even went to college, really, is that I think it was like during Christmas, he would make krum kaka, which is basically like it's like a thin, flat, typically flat, like cookie, like sugar cookie basically, and you can roll it up into like uh, a a cylinder, and fill it like with what am I thinking of? Fill it like with whipped cream, but it's good on its own. But like he made some goddamn good krum kaka, because he also had like a krum kaka like maker that would also have like little patterns and stuff like that on it, and they were always just good. And you can't really have just one krum kaka. You have to have at least like two. If you do, if you start eating one, you can't have just one. It's one of those kinds of foods. Like, it's a cookie, but you're not gonna be eating just one. Whether you like it or not, you're gonna be eating at least two. At least. But no, like during the holiday seasons, he really prided himself on that. Like my grandma, she has like her chocolate frosting. She was mainly the cook in their home, and I think my grandpa also like did some cooking as well. But like she had like more like, oh, I know how to make pop boop this and this and this and this and this. And he's like, I got krum kaka, and it's hella good. I know you guys will like it. Here we go. It's Christmas. Let's go. It's krum kaka time. Man, I miss him. And I'll talk about him on a later date, because like his passing was on St. Patrick's Day, right as the pandemic began. So that's a fun story too, but that's for a different time. That's for a different time. But I think that might be it for tonight, though. I think that might be it for tonight. I hope y'all had a good night, or had a good time, had a good time listening. Please feel free to like, comment, share, rate, review the show, recommend it to other people. Do all that fun stuff if you want to, or can, or like it. Spread the word, spread the good news. If you're on YouTube, of course, like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening on like some other thing in the future, when I actually decide to post it on other things like Spotify and that, feel free to like the show. I don't really know how those work. I've been a Spotify user for years, but I don't know how you do that. There are ratings for shows and stuff like that. I don't know how you do it. And like reviews, I don't know how you do it. But it's possible. I just don't know how. Anyway, leave a like, share it, do all that fun stuff. And I'd like to thank Gradients, the boys of Gradients, for the use of their song Used to It off of the album The Call, the 7-track from that album. It's a good song. I really like it. I just like the vibe of it. And I think the message of it's like, get used to life. What, shit just happens. You just gotta and I feel like the song kind of like itself is kind of like Foo Fighter-y. Kind of feels like a Foo Fighter song. Which, one last quick tangent. The performance with the drummer's son, like the tribute performance of Hero. Oh my god. That video is so emotional, and it is so good. It's like you're watching a son play a tribute to his dad, and it's just so emotional. He's just pounding the piss out of the drums. And it's just like, he's not angry. He's just like, he's angry, he's missing his dad. But it's just so there's so much emotion in his playing, and it's just perfect. It's a perfect performance at least from him, It's just like, god damn. It's a good one. Again, Thanks to Gradients for the use of their song, for the song used to it, the album The Call, as I already just said. Thanks to you for listening and, do the stuff that I already said. But I think it is time to say goodbye. I hope you've had a good one. Until next time, until it is midnight. It's midnight somewhere. But until next time, I will see you later. Bye-bye.